Hi guys, and welcome to Learn Extra Live. It is Maths Lit for grade 10s, 11s and 12s, and I hope that you are all tuning in on 319. Abram, what are you doing here?
Hey, Indy, what's up?
What's up, dude?
It's so good to be here, finally.
Finally.
Yeah, finally.
Yeah.
Feels great.
So
and
guys,
I'm looking forward for the lesson today. It's going to be great.
Yeah. So guys, if you have been watching, you guys chose your top 10 presenters. They've slowly been introduced to you throughout the week. You've seen Atik, you've seen Megan. Who else have they seen?
You've seen Debo and Mane.
Yes, exactly, guys. So now, today is Abram's chance. Let's see how he does. He's been chomping at the bit.
Oh, no. Don't say that.
Okay.
We'll see how I do today.
Give them a little breakdown about who you are.
Well, I'm just this simple guy. What you see is what you get. Typically a hard worker. I work very hard and very smart, of which that's how a mindset should be. You work hard, you work smart.
See, guys, you've got the mindset mentality already.
I'm a mindsetter. I'm a mindsetter.
It's true. Born a mindsetter. Once a mindsetter, always a mindsetter.
So true, even after varsity, to all those ones who thought maybe mindsetters end in high school, you thought wrong.
Exactly. I like that. Because we still have Kashifa and Anissa that still sometimes watch and talk to us on our Facebook
so many
page.
Other guys, your Sidimos also, they're very much active on the page too.
Exactly. So on the page, tell them where they can find us.
It's simple. You go to www.facebook.com/learnextra or via our website, which is www.learnextra.co.za/live.
And what can they find on this website, Abram?
You can find notes for today's show. You download them for free, and the video also. You can also get some other resources like your previous question papers. You can get them on the website, guys. Remember, it's still learnextra.co.za/live.
And also the schedules. You guys can get the schedules there. You can also chat to us on Twitter @LearnExtra. I think before we hand it over to Haley, who has an amazing show. It's all about measurement today, guys. We just need to tell you about our random acts of kindness and what you can win. Take it away, Abram. I like this.
Well, for today,
I'll just chill here.
For today, we're just going to be announcing a winner later on. It is a random act of kindness. What you do is you post a picture on our Facebook page, which is Learn Extra on Facebook, as I've gave you the address.
On the events page, though, hey?
On the events
page.
We have an event created there, which is the random acts of kindness. The prize is to win. It's these cool CDs. We've got some chips, T-shirt, as you can see mine. We've got also these for you because we also support education. So yeah, it's all about that. They are cool prizes. I really can't wait. Malik, Onati, love songs. There's also
love songs.
Yeah, love song. Donald. There's also Kaya Mteto.
Okay, fantastic, Abram.
I'm looking forward. I wish I could get one.
I can't wait. Okay, so I'm going to hand it over to Haley, guys. And what you need to do is post on the page, facebook.com/learnextra, if you have any questions. Big ups to Macmillan. Thank you, guys, for making the show possible. You guys rock. Thank you. No, you really do. Hey? Yeah. They do. They're awesome. All of the content that Haley's going over is also from Macmillan. Haley, I'm sorry we took so long. Shame. How are you?
Hi, Indy. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Hi, guys. Today we're going to be doing measurement, but I tell you what, before we actually start with our measurements, I want to go and look at our numbers because this is something that, as you guys know, has always interested me. So our Facebook page, we've got 31,154 likes. So that's really awesome.
Whoopee.
And then the pages that we were talking about, your schedule, so you can get the schedule and what's happened and what is going to be happening in future. And you could click on today's notes, which are already available. So if you click on the notes, then the notes that I'm going to be going through in the lesson are actually up there. And if you click on the video, which is really nice, is they'll show you the video in the whole sequence. So if you click on my video for today, for last week's show, which was using graphs to solve problems, you'll see it was also patterns, relationships, and the numbers and calculations. So all three of my videos are there for you. But having said that, let's go back to our notes. So today we're dealing with measurement. So let's see what the show is actually going to entail. We are going to start off by looking at common units of measurement and just really going back to basics. We're then going to focus on converting from one unit of measurement to another within the metric system. We're only dealing with the metric system. We're going to focus on calculating the perimeter of a rectangle, a triangle, and a circle. And then finally, we're going to look at calculating the area of a rectangle, triangle, and circle. So we've got a lot packed into today's show. So let us start. So starting off with really common units of measurement. And these are ones that, guys, we use on a daily basis. So you know this. There's really nothing that I'm going to be teaching you now. You do know this. We measure length in kilometers, if it's like a far distance, meters, if it's something close, like I'm saying, like about 3 meters from India and Avram, where they're sitting, centimeters, if I want to measure like the size of my pen, and millimeters, and I could probably also do my pen, but it'll give me a little bit more accurate. So we know those. What's the capacity of mass? And this mass is what it should be called, but we talk about it as weight. And we know we deal with kilograms, grams, and possibly milligrams. It's not something we see on a regular basis, but possibly like you would use milligrams in medicine. So if you're taking a certain antibiotic, it'll tell you that it's so many milligrams, so that's smaller. And finally, we measure capacity in kiloliters, big value, liters, which is our normal, like milk comes in a litre or 2 litre bottle, and finally, milliliters. What we need to be able to do is convert between all of these, and it's really important that you know how. So, and they're easy marks. Let's go through and look at our conversion, the table. So what I've done is I've actually created a table for you, and then I'm going to show you a few tricks of the trade. So if we look at weight, we've got kilograms, and 1,000 grams is 1 kilogram. My base unit for weight is the gram. We don't deal in hundreds in everyday life, but my thousandth is 1,000 milligrams is 1 gram. So we can see that conversion. Let's change our color for a second. This is the one we usually measure in. Okay? And if we can remember this one, and this is the length, we can actually convert it to the other two. My base measure is the meter. My 1,000 meters is the kilometer. Where I've got, I suppose I shouldn't be writing on this. Let's not do circles. Go back to my pen. So my base meter is the meter, and then we've got 1,000 meters is 1 kilometer. Then we do have hundredths in this place. We've got 100 centimeters is 1 meter, and finally 1,000 millimeters is 1 meter. But I'll tell you how I remember that. I'm going to come back to the capacity. I have in my pencil case, well, you guys should have as well. In your pencil case, you've got a ruler. I've got a big ruler to show you because it's easier to see on TV, but I've also got a little ruler. This is what we call our legal cheat, because from this ruler, I can see that 10 millimeters is 1 centimeter. So I can actually physically count them if I needed to. So in an exam, you can do that. Then I'm going to work out, well, how many centimeters are in a meter? And this I know is the distance, and I hope that you guys can actually see this. I know it's the distance from kind of like the tip of my finger to here. So if I take my ruler and I try and figure out how many of these rulers will actually fit into it, or take your 30 centimeter ruler, and you'll see that it's just over 3. So I can see that it is 100 centimeters in 1 meter. So I know that. And that's easy for me to remember. And then I want to know, well, how many meters go into 1 kilometer? And this is something that I've noticed like while driving around, or even if you run, think about, you can run the 100-meter race. You know that's not a kilometer. So it needs to be 1,000 meters. So kind of just with logic, you don't even have to remember these, but logic, you can actually work it out. Then what I do is I say, well, if I'm going from a big number to a small number to convert, I need to divide. So from the 1,000 to 1, how do I do that? I divide. And if I'm going from a small number to a big number, I multiply. And then every time I have a conversion, I actually write this out when I have a conversion, which we'll do later when we do an exercise. And all I do is underline the two that I'm converting from. I'm converting from millimeters to meters. And then I simply go across. So I'm going to be dividing from millimeters to meters and see how many zeros I need. So I need the first step, it'll be 1 0, and in the second step, 2 zeros, and I can see that there's 1,000. So there's 1,000 millimeters in 1 meter. And if I go back to my table, well, my table tells me that there was 1,000 millimeters in 1 meter. The next one is capacity, which is something you also need to. Our base, you need to remember, our base is liters. And I always think about my milk or cold drink. You know, like I buy 1 liter or 2 liters of Coke. that makes me remember that that's my base unit. And then how many milliliters are in a liter? Well, then I always think, well, I walk around with my bottle. And my bottle I know is 750 mils. And I know it's less than a liter. So clearly there must be 1,000 milliliters in a liter. And then finally, the bigger value is also 1,000 kiloliters, 1,000 liters in a kiloliter. Hey, I think we're going to use this just now to do some exercises. Let's just go through some more theory before we do that. So the next key concept we're going to be doing is perimeter. Now, perimeter is actually the length around a shape or object. I always tell my kids, this is one-dimensional. I am physically walking around the shape. And I can think about it as walking around the shape, even if I've got the shape drawn on, if I've got a shape drawn on the board, I'm physically start here and walk my way around it. So it's just the outline, one-dimensional. We've got our formula. The perimeter of a rectangle is 2 times the length plus 2 times the width or breadth. And that's the formula. Remember, they're going to give you the formula, so don't hassle too much about the formulas. A triangle is literally just the 3 sides added up, and a circle. This one I'm going to spend a little bit of time on. So, on our circle, what is important? My perimeter is my yellow line. But what is important is the circumference of the circle, well, that's what we call the perimeter of a circle, has got this radius in it. And that's the important fact. So the radius is when we draw a line from the center of the circle to the outside. That is equal to the radius. If I had to draw another circle, I'm going to do it in a different color, from the center out, that as well as the radius. But the definition of a diameter is a line that goes from the outside. Let's do this in a different color. From the outside through the center to the other side. And that's a diameter. So quite clearly from this diagram, you can see that a diameter is actually equal to 2 radii. Or more importantly, a radius is equal to the diameter divided by 2. Now, what's important whenever you get calculations with this type of thing, with area, perimeter, in fact, anything that's got measurements, make sure you're in 1 unit first. Convert everything. In fact, look at what the answer needs to be in and convert everything to that measurement. And whenever you've got a circle, write out the radius. It's the first thing you do. On your notes, put what is the radius of the circle, because the formula is 2 times pi times radius. Hey, so I think I've flown through this.
And Pi Day is coming up soon, hey, Haley? Pi Day.
Pi Day is coming up soon.
It's on the 14th of March.
14th of March.
Yeah.
At 1:59 to be exact.
Exact, very exact.
To be exact.
Yeah.
Why do I say 1:59? Okay, we're going to...
Let us talk about this.
Let's talk about this
Let's talk about this for a second.
If I look at the number pi on my scientific calculator and press equals, okay, I can see that it's 3,14159.
Yes.
So that's March 14th
Oh.
at 1:59.
So that's where the trick comes from.
No,
interesting.
now he
So
knows
there you
why.
go. There
And
you
did
go.
you know that on Pi Day is also Albert Einstein's birthday?
I did not know that.
So full of facts today.
Full of facts.
So
Okay,
full of
go back
facts.
to my area.
Fantastic. You carry on. Sorry for interrupting.
No problem. No problem.
We're just also excited about pie.
Yeah, I think we have to eat pie. I think on that day. I wonder
I
if we'll be
think.
on TV that night.
We
We
should
should probably bring
We
some.
should do something special.
No, we
Hey, mine said
definitely
is how do
need
you
to.
feel about pie on Doing Extra Live?
Absolutely, I
Good
think
idea.
so.
Yeah.
But this time, can I be invited? Because when we had that party for the 10,000, I wasn't around.
Yes, we will. We will. We will. You know what? On this note, Haley, don't be
let's-
upset, but I'm going to take it to an ad break.
Absolutely.
It's
Okay.
really hot in here, guys. So what we're going to go and do is I think we're going to go, we're going to fan ourselves and
Yeah,
go
we
and
need
get
to refresh
yeah,
a bit.
yeah, go and get ourselves a glass of water. Please post on the page. Let us know if you're understanding. If there isn't, if there is something that you're not understanding, please let us know so we can ask Haley and help you guys out. Don't forget that this page is also for you guys. It's a community of mindsetters. Any last words before the break?
Last words, keep on posting on the page. We'll be there to assist you guys. Check you out after the break.
Hi guys, and welcome back to Maths Lit, grade 10s, 11s and 12s. If you are just joining in, I hope that you are enjoying the show. If you have been tuning in, please post your questions on our Facebook page, facebook.com/learnextra. You can also chat to Abram and I.
We're on the page.
We're on the page,
Yeah.
also on Twitter.
Also on Twitter @LearnExtra.
Exactly.
Tweeters will follow back.
Exactly. Yeah. Hey, we'll follow back.
Yeah.
We will.
Team follow back.
Team follow back. That's
Yeah.
exactly what we are. Steffi, I know that you are watching. You're always watching, and I'm sure your mom.
She's waving.
Yeah, she is.
Wave back to you.
Waving Steffi, as well as Harry. Harry's also on the page, so get posting, guys. Because what they say is the only silly question is the one that's after the exam, because then it's too late.
That's true. That's so true. And I must tell you that I always wanted to tell Hayley this. I love maths literacy.
Hey?
And she's just the best.
so happy to hear
I
that.
liked your trick when we were beginning the key concept. I really liked it, what you did on the conversions. I really like that.
Thanks, Abra.
It made me remember certain things very easy.
Hey, that's so awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, you know what that means, Hayley? That means that you must feel free to send questions Abram's way.
Okay, I'm going to do
Let's
that.
put him in the hot seat.
I'm going to do that.
Cool.
I hope my brain will still function well.
I hope so.
It
I hope
will,
so,
it
'cause you're going to have
will.
to remember numbers and things.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
it's all about measurements today.
All about measurements. Okay, so we do conversions. We're going to send to Abram.
Fantastic,
Get a
fantastic.
paper out. Okay, you guys, let's go back to our key concepts. Can I do that?
You can.
Okay. So, right, before the break, we went through perimeter. Now I want to do area. And area, I was actually struggling to actually define area. I really was struggling because kind of what is area? So I came up with, definitely it's 2 dimensions. And it's the surface that's enclosed by a shape, building, I don't know, by a something. Let's add this. By a, what would be a use sample? By a shape. I'll make it a shape. Okay, so it's something that's enclosed by a boundary. That's what it was. It was a boundary. It's 2 dimensions. It's the space inside, but it's not the volume. So don't get confused between volume and area. It's the flat space. And then we've got area of different shapes. So we're going to do the rectangle again. The area is length times breadth. This is one formula that you might not be given. So length times breadth or width. So that's a formula that you should know. The triangle is the area. Let's draw a triangle here. Okay, it is, if that's my base, I need my perpendicular height. So remember, it is the perpendicular height. So it's half the base times the perpendicular height. And if I look at a different triangle, let's just draw a different triangle. And let me draw a triangle that kind of looks something like that, not the best triangle. The perpendicular height is the one that is perpendicular to the base. That's at 90 degrees to the base. So that would then be my perpendicular height. So always look for that 90-degree angle. So it's half the base times the perpendicular height. And then finally, the area of a circle is pi r squared. So if we go through that theory again, I said to you before the break, whenever you've got a circle, give me the radius. Because it's important that we've got the radius, and therefore we can actually use it in the formulas. So formulas will be given to you. And one of the things that's important is if you're given a formula, you know you need to use that formula. So don't make up your own formula. It's quite amazing, Abram. I don't know if you've ever experienced it. But
I've done it.
and make up a formula. Like, why? I'll
Like
give
you
it
find
to
that
you.
your formula is the most simplest way, but then I guess stick to the rules.
Stick to the rules. Stick to the formula that you've been given. That's very
Wise
fascinates
words.
me. Fascinating. Okay, let's do some questions. So what I have now is I have questions from Solutions for All, Maths Lit, the grade 10. This is actually topic 7. Okay, and the page was 200 and something. So let's do this. We're going to convert the following. So 1,5 grams to milligrams. So the question again was, how many milligrams in a gram? So do we remember this, Abram?
Mm-hmm.
So how many milligrams?
10.
1,000 milligrams in a
Oh,
gram.
milligrams.
Milligrams to grams. Okay.
Yeah.
So 1,000 milligrams to grams. So now I want to convert grams to milligrams. So I'm going kind of from A, that was 1. I'm going to a bigger number. I'm going from 1 to 1,000, so I'm going to be multiplying.
Yes.
So 1,5, and then use your calculators because we've got them. So we've got 1,5 and times by 1,000. So I get 1,500 milligrams.
Easy.
Very easy. 1,500. And don't forget your units, because that's 1,500. Like I say to my kids, not Smarties, 1,500 milligrams. Right. Let's do 385 millimeters to centimeters. This is the one where we've got our trick. So we know we've got 10 millimeters is 1 centimeter. And we are going from millimeters to centimeters, so we are going to divide. And divide by 10, I don't really think I need a calculator for that. It's 38,5 centimeters. Meters to kilometers. So every time, if you just write out what you know, it makes it so much easier. But I probably would have done that whole list that I did a few slides back. And let's see, we've got 1,000 meters is 1 kilometer. And we go from meters to kilometers, so I need to divide. So I'm going to divide this by 1,000, and I get 8,5. Milliliters to liters. So for each one of these, all I'm doing is saying, well, I've got 1,000 milliliters to 1 liter, and therefore I'm going, milliliters, left out the L, and I'm going to divide. I get 0,95. Now in this case, you don't need the second 0. After that, we can actually delete that, because the 0 after the decimal doesn't mean anything. So we can delete that, but we need to add in our liters. Let's make that in liters. Right, 765 grams to kilograms, again 1,000, so we're going to be dividing, and it's 0,765. Keep all the decimal places. I know that the exams tell you that you need to round to 2 decimal places, but if they're asking you specifically to convert a value like this, and you end up with 3 decimal places, don't ignore them. Rather write it in. And if you do really want to round off, because you really think, no, something wrong, I need to round off, it doesn't feel right, then write that number in. And then just tell us, well, that is almost equal to 0,77 kilograms. Because if your teacher is looking for specifics, then they can actually give you the mark there and ignore the balance. And if they're looking for rounded off, well, then you've got it. And finally, centimeters to millimeters is bigger, and it's 10 bigger, so it's 250 millimeters. Okay, let us move on to some questions where we do some perimeter and area. So I'm actually going to ignore the next question. It's a nice question, so no, let me go back to that. It's in my notes. So if you download the notes, you'll see it in the notes, but I'm going to leave it out for now. I think we rather need to go into perimeter and area. So it was the grade 10 topic 7, and it was also page, I must actually get the exact page number. We'll try to get the page number from the book. I'll get that to you in the next break. I'll quickly look that up. But will it actually be in the notes? Right, let's go on to the next question. So this is now a grade 10, topic 14, and question 4. An athletics arena is made up of a rectangular middle and 2 semicircles at each end. And then they give you the diagram. Now it's really important to be able to interpret a diagram. So there's my rectangular middle. So there's a rectangle. Okay. And then 2 semicircle outside. So these are semicircles. Okay. So let's delete this so we can actually see the numbers that we've got here. But it's important to understand. And then they show you the picture of what it actually looks like. So that's great. Now let's see what kind of questions they ask. Calculate the circumference of 1 semicircle end of the track. So we're going to look at our track, and we're going to see that my radius, they've given me the radius. My radius here was 36,4 meters. They want to know what the circumference of 1 semicircle, so that is what I'm looking for. So let's circumference, and our formula for that, the circumference is 2 pi r. And I'm going to use 3,14 because in most of our exams, we actually say, should be the other way around, pi equals 3,54. Most of our exams tell us to use that. We have got a pi calculator on our pi button on our calculator, but the grade 10s and 11s, remember, you guys only need the 4-function calculator. So especially in your exams, they are going to tell you to use pi equals 3,14. So it's important that we get used to what's going to happen in future. So we've got 2 times pi times the radius. What did I say that radius was? 36,4. And then we get our calculator out, and we've got 2 times pi times the radius. And check as you're entering things, it's 228,592. I haven't rounded it off. I just want to check that that was the right number, 228,592. I haven't rounded it off because I have to think about this for a moment. Have I got the right answer? So this would be meters. This would be meters. I'm going to go back and reread the question because I think I've missed something out. It says calculate the circumference of one semicircle. Now what I've done with this formula is I have created a full circle. I've calculated the circumference of a full circle. So I need to take that and divide by 2 to get 1. So let's go back to our calculator. I've got that number. Let me divide by 2 and I get an answer of 114,30. Now I'm going to round off. Always round off in the last step, 114,30. So round off at the very last step. And in fact, you don't need that 0. So we can actually delete the 0 because it's meters. And that answer, what color was I using, is meters. All right, let's move on to the next question. Use your answer in A to calculate the perimeter of the arena. So now I want the entire arena. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to write in that answer that I had here. That was that semicircle. And in actual fact, it was that semicircle as well. So, and I like to color in what I have, what I've calculated. So those two have been calculated. Now remember I said to you the perimeter is the outline. So I'm literally going to start walking here and go all the way around. So I've got the yellow. What I'm missing is that part and that part. So I'm going to do it on the side here because it's actually easier to see it. So I need 114,3 plus, so I've got that, plus 85, plus another 114,3, and plus another 85. Now you can multiply by 2 if you need to, or you can literally just add those exactly the way they are. So let's see what we had. We had 114,3 plus 85 plus 114,3 plus, careful as you're entering, left out a 1, and finally plus 85. And my perimeter is 398,6. So that equals to 398,6. And remember that was meters. So close to 400 meters. Have we answered? It says, have we answered the question? I'd like to reread the question. Use your answer to calculate the perimeter. We've got that. Right. If the track is 9,8 meters wide, what is the radius of the semicircle inside the track? So the track is this part here. Now, I've just worked out, and I think I need to change that color, so I don't think you can see that very clearly. So the track is that part. We've worked out the perimeter, and we know that our radius was 36,4. Now I want to take off the track, which is 9,8 meters wide. So what is the radius inside track? Will be my 36,4 is 36,4. My 36,4 minus 9,8. I hope that makes sense, that we're actually minusing the track from it. And that gives me my radius. My calculator, 36,4 minus 9,8. It's 26,6. So remember when you have like frames, they often do it with frames, where you have to like minus the one number from another, or paths around something. In this case, we got the track. So that's perfect. Moving on to the next part of the question. Calculate the circumference of the red tartan part of the inside of the semicircle part of the track. Okay, so what we're now going to do is And I don't think I need to do this calculation. I think I'm going to move ahead. So we would do the same calculation we did again, because now I've got this radius. And my length will be the exact same as the length was, because that 9.8 is not affecting my length of my track. So we can do this calculation. I don't think I'm going to do it. I want to try to see if we can get to the next question. Use your unseen D to calculate the perimeter of the inside edge of the track. Well, that's the same kind of calculations. Right, let's see if we've got time to do this question. Because I know when we come back from the break, do you think we've got time to start this question?
Let's start it,
Let's start
and
the
then what I know the mindsets love. I think we should actually maybe even pose it as a bit of a challenge question, so we can see who answers, and when we get back, then we can go
For
over
this
it.
question?
Yes, I think
Okay,
it's a
well,
brilliant idea.
let me start the question. At least I'll start explaining the question to you guys. Maybe we can pose it as a challenge, because I also want to get to the matric question. That's really important. So let's see. This question comes out of, again, the grade 10, topic 14. I need to give you the page numbers. The supermarket assistant has to pack tins like the one shown onto a shelf. The dimensions of the shelf are 0,5 meters by 1,5 meters. And this is our tin. So our tin has a radius of 4,3 centimeters, and it has a height of 12 centimeters. First question is, what is the diameter of the base of one tin? So quite easily, we'd already discussed what the diameter and the radius were. So we know that the diameter is equal to 2 radii. And I know my radius is 4,3. So to get my diameter, I times by 2. And that makes it a diameter. Calculator, 4,3 times 2. And we get an answer of 8,6. And don't forget your units. So it's 8,6. And that was centimeters. I think the question kind of comes to a point where they need to calculate how many tins need to be on the shelf. So let's see who at the next one. Okay, tell you what. You have a look at the question, because is it on our Facebook
Well,
site?
we're
We're
about,
putting it
Okay,
now.
you're
we're
about,
about
to,
to post
about
it,
to
guys.
post it. So try it out, but I think we might have to come back to the matric one, but we'll decide when we come back. So I'm sending you over to Abram and Indy to
Fantastic, fantastic. Okay, I'm actually having a look here. Where is it? Quickly before I take it to break. Steffi actually told us what page. I think you were asking which page from the Macmillan textbook.
And
the
she said 115.
one, and the page was 115, guys. So if you were looking for the page in your Macmillan book, the page is 115. We'll see you now after the break. Hi guys, and welcome back to Maths Lit. We are moving into our last section of the show. Are you so
So
upset?
sad. It's so
Hey.
sad. But time really, really flies, especially when you're learning.
Yeah, exactly. And
Having fun while learning.
And Abram's super excited because, guys, he is going to be on the next show too, all by himself. So please be super kind to him. If you are going to be watching the next show, Steffi said, she says, oops, sorry, question 3 is page 245.
Not
Okay.
115.
Yeah. Oopsie. That's okay. That's
Thanks,
okay,
Steffi.
Steffi. I think we make mistakes all the time. So if you guys are watching, next is accounting. Abram will be on the page, but we're not going to take any more time away. I know Hayley has got a question that she wants to go through and
But
get to
let's
some grade
remind
12.
the mindset is that on the page we have the challenge questions. So make sure that you get those answers and you calculate for us.
Exactly.
Perfect.
Awesome.
Thanks, guys. Okay, so what I'm going to do is the challenge questions out there. I'm going to do just the next part of it, question, section B, and then I'm going to leave the rest to you. Then I want to go on to a matric question. So they said if the length of the shelf is 1,5 meters, how many tins would fit along the length of the shelf? Now, basically, we have this shelf now, and this is 1,5 meters. I like to draw pictures. I really like to draw pictures. So for and I want to know how many tins can I fit in here? So how many kind of like circles can I fit in? So what am I going to do? I'm going to take this 1,5 meters, and I'm going to divide it by my diameter of my tin, because the diameter is the whole tin, and my diameter of my tin was 8,6. Now that 8,6 was in centimeters. And this is a huge problem. I cannot divide meters and centimeters. So I have to fix this up. So this is where I go, whoa, there's a problem here. So I'm going to convert to centimeters. So I'm going to make 1,5 meters is, there are 100 centimeters, so we times by 100, it's 100 centimeters a meter, and we get 150 centimeters, and now we're going to divide by 8,6 centimeters. And now these are both in centimeters, and everything's happy. So on my calculator, I say 150 divided by 8,6, and I get an answer of 17,44. And this is a really important concept. So I've got 17,44. Now, when it comes to rounding something like this, I can only fit 17 tins in, because that 0.44, I cannot fit another tin in. So I have to make this 17 tins. There really is no place for that like 0.44 of a tin. And I cannot round up to 18 because that last tin's going to fall off the shelf. I'm going to leave you with that. And I'm going to come back to it later, or we're going to get an answer for C and D. In fact, the answer, how many tins can be packed onto the shelf? That's the answer we want. Am I right?
Yes.
So we want the answer to that. That's what you need to work out. In the meantime, let us go through some matric paper. So what we have here is this is adapted from the Eastern Cape, September 2012, paper 1, and it's question 4. What's really nice about going past papers is that eventually you start realizing what kind of questions you're going to get in paper 1, what kind of questions you're going to get in paper 2, and although the context of it's going to change, the actual theory is the same. So it takes away a lot of the pressure. So this question says, Mr. Chabalala has been asked to hand in a quote for work required in Mrs. Smith's new house before work can start. We've got a lounge, and it is the following shape. So she has her lounge, and it is made up of basically a rectangle and a semicircle. What is the length of X? So X is this length here. And remember that length, and if I had to draw this, I like doing this. Let me see if I can select it. I had to draw that. Okay, let's draw it as a straight line. I'll tell you what we do. We undo that. Let's delete this. Okay, let's try that again. Let me draw a straight line. I'll use a yellow line. Okay, I want that length. Now, if I select it and move it, you can see that that length is the same length as that. So X is just 4 meters. It's as easy as that. So X is 4 meters. Don't forget your units. So, and X is actually the diameter of my semicircle. So what's the first thing I need to do? I said to you, when I've got a circle, I want to know what the radius is. So I'm going to write in my radius. And I know my diameter was 4. So my radius is 4 divided by 2. So my radius is 2 meters. And I write it in. So I've got it because I know I'm going to need the radius. Right, moving on to the next part of the question, it says, what is the perimeter of the lounge? And it gives us the formula to use. Now, this is a kind of situation where it might be a formula you're not 100% used to, but we're going to use the formula exactly the way they've given it to us. What we have is 2 lengths. So I'm going to substitute in 2 times the length. Now, I also like to write in the length and the breadth, and my radius is 2. So 2 lengths was 6 meters. If the letters, the units, worry you when you're doing the calculations, you can leave them out. But don't forget to add them in the last question. Plus the breadth of 4 meters, plus 2 times pi, which they said is 3,14, times my radius, divided by 2. Now, for you guys that are using scientific calculators, you can then type this exactly the way it is. If you're using a 4-function calculator, don't forget your BODMAS, and then you basically need to do the division first. Okay, but we've got a scientific calculator, so let's do that. So it was 2 times 6 plus 4 plus, and I'm going to use the fraction button even, 2 times pi times my radius divided by 2. I'm going to come back to that 22.28. So it was 22.28 meters. I'm going to come back to the formula for a second. Now, why did we divide by 2? That's because we had a semicircle. So that was my circumference, semicircle. Why did we only have 1 breadth? Well, clearly, that was 2 lengths and 1 breadth. So Formula was there for you. Didn't even have to really think it through. Hey, let's go through to the next question. What was the floor area of the lounge? And again, they've given you the formula. So length times breadth is now my area of my rectangle. Plus, pi r squared is my circle, but it's half. So I'm going to say 6 times 4 plus 3,14 times my radius, which was 2. Where 2 comes from. Squared over 2. And if you're using a 4-function calculator, then your squared, you just times by it again. If you don't remember that 2 squared is 4. And we can type that into our calculator exactly. So we've got 6 times 4 plus a fraction, 3,14 times 2 squared all over 2. 30,28. Now, in this case, don't forget your units. And what were we dealing with? We were dealing with meters. It is area. It is 2-dimensional. Needs to be squared. Perfect. Moving on to the next question. If the wood for the floor and the sanding and varnishing of the floor costs 265 Rand per square meter, how much will it cost to lay, sand, and varnish the lounge floor? And this is where I know a lot of you guys out there struggle with this particular section, this area, volume, measurement. We struggle with it. There are so many points where there are marks allocated for, we count it as measurement, but in actual fact this is finance and it's a ratio. It's so interesting, and there are lots of marks that are there for you. And don't panic. And what I want to say is you will get method marks for basically multiplying by your answer. So what are we looking for? We're looking at, this is the wood for the floor. So we are looking here at the area. And in fact, we can see that it's the area because it was meters squared. So going to go back to how many meters squared was the area, and it was 30,28. So I'm going to use that answer. My area was 30,28 meters squared. And I know that I have a cost of 265 Rand per meter squared. So how do I work out the total? I multiply these two. So if on my calculator, in fact, I've got that number, so I can just times by 265, and I get an answer of 8,024 Rand. So this was 8,024 Rand. Remember, there was a comma 2. This is money, and this is really, really important. Money is always 2 decimal places. So it's actually 20. So don't forget that unit. And your unit of the rands. Let's move on to the next part of the question. The skirting board around the perimeter. Now, I know I've done this question before, and my kids said to me, but what is skirting board? Or kind of like, what if I don't understand what a skirting board is? Skirting board is that, just that little board around the floor that you've got in an area, but it tells you, it says around the perimeter has to be replaced. So now we know we're dealing with the perimeter question that we have. How much will it cost for this wood is 55 Rand per meter. And again, even here you can see the meter, 1 unit, so it's we know that it's the perimeter. So go back a few pages to find our perimeter. Our perimeter was the question before that. It was 22.28. Now I'm lost where I am. Okay, this is where we are. So it was 22.28 meters. And now I need to times that by the 55 Rand per meter. And my calculator, 22.28 times by 55, and I get an answer of 1225.40. Don't forget your numbers. So don't forget your money. Again, comes down to money as 40 cents. Next part of our question says, Mr. Chabalala knows that there are, with 3 laborers working on the job, it will take 15 hours. The laborers are paid 65 Rand per hour each. How much will the labor cost to do this job? So we've got a lot of information here, and we need to kind of pull out the information. So we've got 3 laborers, or 3 workers. They each earn 15 rand. It'll take 15 hours, and they're earning, I'm glad you're paying attention, Aram, and they earn 65 rand per hour. So the question is, let's work out 1. So if one's earning 65 rand, and he's working 15 hours. So we can first multiply that and say 65 times 15, and we get our answer of 975. So it's 975 rand for 1 laborer. But there were 3 of them, so we can times that by 3. And you could have done this in 1 step as well.
So true.
2925. What's important is that you show every step of working. It's really, really important that you show every step. I said to my kids, you know what, I want to know what you're thinking. Because if I know what you're thinking, then I can kind of allocate marks for what you were thinking. So, am I right, Avram? Show everything.
So right.
Have we got any responses on our Facebook page?
Let me have a look. We actually do. And we actually have a question here, and I was wondering if you would be able to quickly help him.
Quickly,
I think
yes.
you'll be able to. This is from Sheridan, and Sheridan says, "Hi guys, please can you help me with cylinders and how to calculate them? Would we be able to go over cylindrical shape?"
The volume of cylinders we're going to actually be doing next week. Next week we're going to be doing volume.
Okay, so Sheridan, you have jumped the gun, and we will be going over that next week. So please make sure that you do tune in.
Absolutely.
We will, however, in the meantime, still post on the page how this is done. So you're getting answered anyway. But guys, please tune in next week for that. I think let's have a look here. What did they say? Okay, we've got Joseph has answered, and Zazi has
They got
answered.
the same answer.
See, the only thing is that we actually haven't. See, we were actually given the task to do the questions ourselves, and we kind of didn't really have time because we've been Facebooking. Do we get into trouble for that?
No, I don't think you're getting in trouble.
They
Maybe
were
we'll have to
answering
just give them
different questions.
are they answering different questions?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, at least Abram can make sense of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now we'll carry on, guys. Carry on. So should I carry on with this question? I
Yes,
think?
and then we'll post the answers on the page.
And
That's exactly what we'll do.
Really, not to panic. We're going to be doing volume next week, so we're going to be doing cylinders, and we're going to be doing like cubes and that kind of thing.
All
So
of that fun stuff.
all that fun stuff. Today's just area and volume. Okay, let's move on to the next part of this question. Right. What will the total cost be for Mr. Chabalala? So we basically started with an area and perimeter question, but now we've totally gone into finance. And now this is where I'm going to put these guys onto the spot, because I'm going to actually, no, I'll tell you what, let's clear my calculator and let's go back a few pages, because we need to actually work out our total cost. So I'm going to go back to, we had a cost for the floor. So cost for the floor was 8,000, I have to move that, 802420. It was 802420 plus the cost for the next, for the skirting board, let's move down here, was 122540. 122540 plus our labor, which was our next one, 2925. So that was plus 2925. So our total cost was actually 12,174 rand 60. I need to find this where I wrote that. And I don't remember that number now. It was 12,000. Do we remember, Aram?
12,000.
17460. 17460. And I think on that note, 17460. On that note, I think I'm probably going to be forced to hand over to you guys.
I'm
to
so
finish off.
sorry.
But guys, just remember, you need to practice this. Practice, and learn to use your calculator so that you're happy with the calculator and you know how it works. So I'm going to say goodbye, and I'll see you next week.
And that's exactly what maths is, especially maths lit. Practice makes perfect.
So
really, hey?
You gotta make it practical.
Exactly. Okay, guys, thank you so much for an awesome show.
Awesome indeed.
Proudly sponsored by Macmillan
Macmillan.
too. You guys rock. Make sure you tune in same time, same place next week. It's been great. Make sure you post your questions on
www.facebook.com/learnextra, or go to our website, download the notes and our schedule. It's www.learnextra.co.za/live.
You know what? We shouldn't even say www. We should say facebook.com/learnextra.
That's quite simple.
Yeah.
You got it right.
Easier.
And Twitter, it's @learnextra. Thank you guys. Bye.
Bye.